Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. The Honorable Prime Minister, the Honorable Leader of the Opposition, Honorable Cabinet Ministers and Assistant Ministers, Excellencies, members of the Diplomatic Corps, our guests sitting in the gallery and watching through live stream, members of the media, ladies and gentlemen. I rise in response to the address delivered by His Excellency, the President of Fiji, in acknowledgement, support, and most importantly, with a commitment to act. His Excellency has set a decisive course for our nation. He called for unity in Fiji's diverse society. He called for economic growth that can withstand shocks and improve livelihood. He called for disciplined investments in infrastructure for development that reaches every province and every community. He called for legislation that strengthens governance, and above all, he called for delivery, real progress, not promises. Today, I lay the framework through which the Ministry of Tourism and Civil Aviation seeks to transform this vision into action. A framework that is focused, practical, and results-driven. A framework that ensures our plans touch every corner of our nation. A framework that delivers on the promise of progress. Mr. Speaker, sir, tourism and civil aviation are sectors that, for many of our people, are a source of opportunity, providing accessibility, connectivity, and uplifting the lives of thousands of families. It drives investments in infrastructure, utility, and businesses. Mr. Speaker, sir, in an increasingly uncertain global environment, Fiji continues to stand as a nation of stability, safety, and goodwill. Our country has long been recognized as a welcoming and peaceful destination, and this reputation is an asset we must continue to protect. It is therefore important that we consistently share Fiji's story with the world, that ours is a place where visitors are received in peace, where communities are secure, and where the spirit of hospitality remains strong. In this regard, Mr. Speaker, sir, initiatives that promote the Pacific as an ocean of peace reinforce the values that define us as a nation and strengthen confidence in Fiji as a trusted destination for travelers and partners alike. Mr. Speaker, sir, as both sectors expand, they must do so with structure and purpose. The next stage of Fiji's aviation and tourism journey is about aligning what we build, where we build, and how communities participate in their development. It is making sure that our infrastructure, our environment, and our people move forward together. A central theme of His Excellency's address was inclusive and economic transformation. Our approach to this transformation is guided by 5 powerful pillars of development: access, accommodation, attractions, and amenities. In tourism, we regard this as the 4 A's. Access is our gateway. It is our airports, our shipping links, our roads, and even our digital networks. People must have equal access to opportunities that benefit our nation. Accommodation reflects confidence. Hotels, eco-lodges, homestays, and resorts. These are places where jobs are created for our people and skills are built. Attractions are what we offer our people, oceans, land, heritage, and above all, culture. These treasures must be protected and respected. And amenities, Mr. Speaker, sir, the system that keeps everything running: water, power, sanitation, health services, and safety. We may not always appreciate these things, but when affected, we feel their impact immediately. Honorable Speaker, these 4 A's can only progress with people, which is why actors are equally important and must be the 5th pillar. These are the people who make aviation and tourism happen: our communities, our airline operators, hoteliers, guides, artisans. We are nothing without our people. When these pillars work in harmony, aviation and tourism become drivers of genuine national growth. This will be achieved through our National Sustainable Tourism Framework and our Civil Aviation Master Plan. Mr. Speaker, as we respond to the direction set out by His Excellency, the President, it is important to place our work in one level within the national vision. The House is familiar with the ambitions of Novo Liku. At its core, it is a strategic response to decades of underinvestment that have limited the North's full economic potential. With support from the World Bank, we will achieve airport upgrades, utility strengthening, environmental protection, and enterprise development. With runway upgrades already underway at Lambasa airports, we are now seeing the most significant step forward in improving access to one level. The improvement directly addresses the connectivity challenges that have held us back for years. As capacity increases, so does confidence. Confidence from investors, from airlines considering new routes, and from local businesses who can now plan for growth with far greater certainty. Improved access is not just an infrastructure achievement, it is a catalyst for opportunity across the North. Novo Liku is intentionally designed to ensure that communities are not spectators, they are participants. That is why the Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises, MSME, Community-Based Tourism Initiative, is a core component of that program. It builds the capacity for our people by preparing them to play an active, confident role in the tourism economy. In addition, the Ministry also administers the Pilot Tourism Micro and Small Enterprises Fund, which enables small operators to improve facilities and uplift the overall visitor experience. Our objective is to increase capacity as well as deepen local ownership, raise standards, and ensure that prosperity circulates within communities. Mr. Speaker, sir, reaching out to maritime provinces is essential to achieving inclusive growth. The Lao Tourism Scoping Mission that we undertook weeks ago revealed world-class natural and cultural assets, reminding us of the importance of careful planning. Lao's beauty is pristine, and development must be done with respect. Following the scoping mission, the Fiji Navy conducted hydrographic mapping of Enfulanga. With accurate navigational charts, we can ensure safe maritime access while supporting environmental conservation. Our approach in Lao will remain community-led, low impact, and high value. High value, Mr. Speaker, say, we'll see the development of over bungalows, types of accommodation that are ideally suited for Lao. Conservation, heritage preservation, and local enterprise ownerships will guide every step. Mr. Speaker, say, aviation is key to Lao. Accessibility is the answer to Lao. Today we have 5 airports in the Lao group, in Tumbo, Moala, Onelao, Vivi, and Wonombalau. 4 of these airports are not all-weather, except for Tumbo, and the focus will be to make them all-weather so that we can take in tourism, the numbers on any given day. Today, when it rains, some of these airports do not operate. This balanced approach will also extend to Namosi, Rewa, and Lomaiviti, particularly of Lao, with their rich heritage, ecological sites, and cultural depth. We need to support local businesses, align infrastructure, and plan carefully. The 5 ways extend far beyond our traditional tourism approach. Inclusive and balanced tourism strengthens our communities, strengthens our identities, upholds our culture, and nourishes our nation. Honorable Speaker, aviation is a driver for tourism growth. One cannot exist without the other. The Civil Aviation Master Plan, Fiji's first integrated aviation roadmap, outlines the future of airport upgrades, airspace management, regulatory oversight, and safety systems. It ensures the aviation sector keeps pace with potential visitor growth. This underpins our access pillar, at a national level, ensuring we build ahead of demand. Honorable Speaker, as part of this forward-looking approach, the Ministry is also advancing preparatory work on a feasibility study for the development of airport infrastructure in the Asawa region. The Asawa has huge potential for growth, and the project will soon invite expressions of interest to conduct a feasibility study. Additionally, we are exploring the revamp of Ngau airports to accommodate larger aircrafts. Ngau holds significant potential for tourism and broader economic activity, and a gateway for the development of the entire Lomai Beauty Group. Strengthening air connectivity to Ngau would enhance accessibility, stimulate local enterprise, and support more balanced provincial growth. Such investments will upgrade the airstrip and unlock a new corridor of opportunity for communities that have long been underserved. Modern and inclusive aviation planning is a catalyst to connectivity. It is economic foresight. In partnership with our national airline Fiji Airways, we will target markets that align with our sustainability and diversification plans. Mr. Speaker, sir, improved aviation connectivity and a growing tourism economy must be supported by modern laws. While strengthening our regulatory framework, it is also important, Mr. Speaker, sir, to address the issue concerning the growing aspirations of many young Fijians who wish to pursue careers in aviation, particularly as professional pilots. Civil aviation is a highly skilled and respected profession that requires extensive training, discipline, and significant financial commitment. In recent years, Mr. Speaker, sir, more families have chosen to privately finance pilot training for their children, often making considerable sacrifices through loans, mortgages for the use of their homes, or retirement savings. While this reflects a strong appeal of aviation as a career, it is important that families clearly understand the realities of the aviation labor market, especially pilots. Obtaining a commercial pilot license is an important achievement, but it does not automatically guarantee employment. In a relatively small aviation market such as Fiji, new qualified pilots must build substantial additional flying hours and experience before progressing towards the airline transport pilot license required for airline operations. For this reason, parents must carefully research. There must be informed planning and a clear understanding of a full training pathway that are essential before committing to such significant investment. I've had visitors to my office, Mr. Speaker, sir. A family was selling roti parcels to fund their son to train as a pilot. And you're talking about close to $200,000 by the end of the day, Mr. Speaker, sir. So I'm pleading with parents to really understand the magnitude of the undertaking before they when they support their children to take up flying. For 2026, about 101 candidates undertook the aptitude test with Fiji Airways as part of the process with TSLS to give them scholarships. Out of the 101, there are 20 scholarships by TSLS, and 20 have been chosen. But there is an indication of the level of interest. And according to Fiji Airways, the quality of the candidates is quite high. But we can only provide 20 scholarships each year. And that is consistent with the reading of what the demand is in aviation. For these young students, there are other aspects in aviation they can take up, engineering, space management, and others. So pilot is not the be-all of aviation. And there are other fields where these are, as I say, highly qualified in medicine and health, where they can they can consider, as opposed to pilots and then prevailing on the parents to undertake this high cost of privately funding pilot training. At the same time, the government continues to strengthen the broader framework that governs the aviation sector. The revised Civil Aviation Bill, now nearing completion, will ensure a modernized and enhanced regulatory framework for civil aviation in Fiji, complying with international standards. Furthermore, Fiji's tourism legislation will establish a united system for industry and destination standards and sustainability, strengthening the values of the Fijian brand. Alongside this, the Commercial Use of Marine Areas Bill is now in consultation, known as the Kuma Bill. It addresses a long-standing legal and governance gap impacting the rights of customary owners, the integrity of marine resource management, and the certainty needed for sustainable commercial use of Fiji's viable marine areas. These laws reforms ensure stability and confidence for the future. Mr. Speaker, sir, this year's Fiji Tourism Convention, the theme was Tourism Beyond Boundaries, reflects the direction set out in the presidential address. Beyond boundaries means reaching new provinces, supporting MSMEs, modernizing our systems, and lifting infrastructure across the country. The aviation and tourism industry has shown it is ready. The national vision is clear. Our framework brings all of this together. The ministry enters the parliamentary year with a clear plan. Through the 5 A's, we will deliver balanced growth. Through Nowoliku, we will unlock the North. Through careful community-led development in Lau and other provinces, we will widen opportunities. Through aviation modernization, we will sustain our connectivity. Through legislative reform, we will protect our global and regulation and good governance. Through MSMEs, supporting community initiatives, we will empower our people. Aviation and tourism in Fiji is moving from expansion by momentum to expansion by design. When growth is structured and inclusive, it does more than increase arrivals and connectivity. It nourishes livelihoods, it builds provinces, it protects heritage, it deepens resilience. That is our commitment, that is our direction, and this is how we will act. Let me just close, Mr. Speaker, sir, by focusing on what is happening today globally. I spent the last few days in Berlin, in Germany, with the ITB, which is a huge travel summit. And it was sad when certain people from across the globe could not make it to Berlin because of the turmoil in a part of the world. And I read with interest the comment by the governor of the Reserve Bank. Let's go out and tell the whole world Fiji is safe. The tourists can come to Fiji. But that is true, Mr. Speaker, sir. Sometimes I wonder why I was born in a small island nation in the Pacific. But when you look at the global turmoil and all that we see today, I say I'm lucky that I was born in this part of the world which is safe, and people will look for a safe place to visit, and that is a country that I love called Fiji. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir.